Ambassador James Marshall stood tall before the Galactic Council, his gray eyes scanning the massive chamber. 200 alien representatives from across the galaxy stared down at him from their elevated seats. Their faces showed different emotions. Some seemed concerned, others angry, and a few looked pleased. Too pleased. The council leader, known as Bright Eye for the glowing orb in the center of its head, raised all four arms for silence. The chamber grew quiet. Marshall knew what was coming. He had expected this since finding the encrypted files 3 days ago. Ambassador Marshall of Earth, Bright Eye's voice boomed through the chamber. You stand accused of sabotaging the peace treaty of 7 stars. Evidence shows you planted false information to turn member species against each other. How do you respond to these charges? Marshall allowed himself a small smile. They hadn't found everything. The real evidence was already on its way to Earth, transmitted through a quantum channel they couldn't detect. He had prepared for this moment ever since noticing the small changes in council policy, the subtle ways they tried to limit human expansion, the accidentally lost colony applications, the mysterious delays in technology sharing. I deny all charges, Marshall spoke clearly, his voice carrying across the chamber. And I demand to see this supposed evidence. Bright Eye's central orb flashed dangerously. The evidence is classified for council security. But we have testimonies from 3 different species confirming your actions. Marshall laughed, causing several council members to shift uncomfortably. Classified evidence and unnamed witnesses. Is this what passes for justice in the Galactic Council these days? He turned slowly, making eye contact with as many representatives as possible. Some looked away. They knew this was wrong, but fear kept them silent. The council had ruled for 1,000,000 years, and few dared to challenge its authority. The truth, Marshall continued, is that this council fears humanity. You fear how quickly we advance, how easily we adapt your technologies, how rapidly we solve problems that puzzled you for centuries. Instead of embracing our potential, you choose to contain it. Angry murmurs filled the chamber. Bright Eye's orb pulsed rapidly. These baseless accusations only prove your guilt, Ambassador. The Council has welcomed humanity with open arms. We have shared our knowledge, our resources. You've shared what you couldn't hide. Marshall interrupted. You've given us scraps while keeping the feast for yourselves. But humanity doesn't need your handouts. We never did. The council leader raised all 4 arms again, but this time in anger. Enough. The evidence is clear. The council finds you guilty of sabotage, conspiracy, and endangering galactic peace. The sentence is immediate execution. Several members gasped. Execution was rare in council space, especially without a formal trial. But Marshall saw the fear in their eyes. Fear of what he might reveal if allowed to live. 2 security drones approached him, their weapon ports open. Marshall stood straighter, straightening his diplomatic uniform. He had one last message to deliver. You think killing me will solve your problem. His voice rang through the suddenly silent chamber. You think humanity will accept this injustice. We're not like the other species you've bullied and controlled. We remember our fallen. We avenge our dead. The drones raised their weapons. Marshall smiled one last time. You've made a terrible mistake. Humanity won't forget this day. And when they come, and they will come, remember that you chose this path. Remember that you turned allies into enemies. Remember that you... The drones fired. Ambassador James Marshall's body crumpled to the floor of the Galactic Council chamber. Bright Eye's orb dimmed slightly. Remove the body. Let the record show that justice was served. This session is. A small light began blinking on Marshall's collar, the quantum transmitter, broadcasting his final moments back to Earth. The council leader's orb flashed in panic. But it was too late. The message was already sent. The die was cast. And somewhere in the dark between the stars, humanity's hidden fleets waited for the order they knew would come. The war had begun. The United Earth Defense Chamber erupted in chaos. On the massive central screen, Ambassador Marshall's execution played in an endless loop. His final words echoed through the room. Humanity won't forget this day. Admiral Thomas Reed stood at the command podium, his weathered face illuminated by the emergency lights. Around him, military leaders from every nation watched in horror and rage. Some shouted for immediate retaliation. Others demanded diplomatic solutions. All of them wanted answers. Quiet. Reed's voice cut through the noise. The chamber fell silent. 20 minutes ago, we received Marshall's final data burst. Intelligence Officer Wright, show them what our ambassador died to send us. Peter Wright stepped forward, his hand steady as he connected his quantum tablet to the main display. The execution video disappeared, replaced by classified council documents. Ambassador Marshall discovered these files 3 days ago. Wright explained, his voice cold. The council has been systematically sabotaging our colonial efforts for the past 5 years. Every failed colony application, every accidental supply shortage, every delayed technology transfer. It was all deliberate. The documents scrolled across the screen. Trade restrictions hidden in seemingly friendly agreements, military containment protocols disguised as safety measures, plans to limit human expansion throughout the galaxy. General Maria Stone slammed her fist on the table. Those lying snakes. They were never our allies. They just wanted to keep us weak and controlled. Not just weak, Wright continued, bringing up more files. They feared us. Look at their military assessments. They recognized how quickly we adapted their technology, how fast we solved problems that took them centuries to figure out. The council saw us as a threat to their power. Admiral Reed raised his hand for attention. The council made 3 critical mistakes today. First, they underestimated our intelligence-gathering capabilities. Second, they thought killing Marshall would hide their plans. He paused, his eyes hard. And third, they forgot that humans have been preparing for this betrayal since day one. The Admiral pressed a button on his podium. The chamber's walls became transparent, revealing the night sky above. But instead of stars, the gathered leaders saw thousands of lights moving in perfect formation, Earth's hidden fleet, emerging from stealth. Operation Dark Dawn is now active, Reed announced. All the weapons and ships we kept hidden from council inspectors, all the technology we developed in secret, everything we built while pretending to be simple, cooperative newcomers to the galactic stage. It's time to show the council exactly what humanity can do. The chamber erupted again, but this time with determined voices coordinating attack plans. General Stone accessed the global defense network, awakening automated factories buried deep beneath every continent. Peter Wright transmitted activation codes to stealth bases hidden throughout the solar system. The council thinks they're the masters of the galaxy. Reed's voice carried over the activity. They've ruled for 1,000,000 years, growing comfortable in their power, but they've never faced an enemy like us. We don't forget. We don't forgive. And we never, ever go down without a fight. On screens around the chamber, reports flooded in. Quantum communications raced between Earth and its secret colonies. Hidden shipyards around Neptune burst into activity. Experimental weapons platforms emerged from camouflaged bases on Mars. Send the message to all human worlds and ships, Reed commanded. As of this moment, we are at war with the Galactic Council. Implementation of Protocol Omega is authorized. Show them why you don't make enemies of humanity. The chamber lights shifted to blood red. Warning sirens echoed across every city on Earth. In orbit, massive warships dropped their stealth fields, their weapons charging. Ambassador Marshall's final message played one more time across every screen. Remember that you chose this path. The Council had ruled the galaxy for 1,000,000 years. But humanity was about to show them that all empires fall. Deep beneath Neptune's dark side, Commander Robert Thompson watched as massive doors opened in the ice, revealing humanity's greatest secret. Stretching for kilometers, rows of advanced warships waited in their frozen berths. Each vessel represented years of careful preparation, built using technology the Council never knew humans had mastered. Status report, Thompson ordered. standing on the command deck of the hidden base called Deep Winter. All ships responding, "Sir," his operations officer replied. "The ice camouflage is melting as planned. Quantum engines are warming up. Weapon systems are online." Through the base's viewing windows, Thompson watched as the first ship rose from its icy tomb. The Thunder Child was a masterpiece of human engineering. 3 kilometers of stealth plating and advanced weapons. Its black hull absorbed all light, making it nearly invisible against space's darkness. "Who's laughing now?" Thompson muttered, remembering how Council representatives had mocked Earth's primitive ships during their visits. Those visits had seen only what humanity wanted them to see: outdated vessels and simple weapons that masked their true capabilities. Alerts flashed across his command screen. Similar scenes were playing out across the solar system. On Mars, hidden mountain bases opened to reveal artillery platforms that could hit targets across light years. Beneath Europa's ice, automated factories activated, beginning production of advanced combat drones. His communication officer spoke up. "Sir, message from Earth Command. Admiral Reed wants a full inventory of our hidden forces." Thompson smiled. "Send them the real numbers. It's time the Council learned what they're facing." The inventory was staggering. 500 capital ships, each more advanced than anything the Council possessed. Thousands of stealth fighters equipped with quantum weapons. Automated defense systems that could predict and counter any known alien technology. Manufacturing facilities that could produce new ships in days instead of years. Weapon systems that the Council had deemed impossible to create. "Sir," his sensor officer's voice was urgent. "We're detecting Council scout ships at the edge of the system. They're probably wondering why they lost contact with their spies." "Let them look," Thompson ordered. "Maintain stealth protocols for now. Let them see just enough to make them nervous." On his command screen, more reports arrived. The asteroid belt's hidden bases were launching their own ships. Pluto's automated defense ring was powering up. Even Earth's moon was revealing its secrets as weapon platforms emerged from hidden craters. "Message from General Stones, sir," the comm officer announced. "Operation Dark Dawn is moving to Phase 2. We're to begin moving ships into attack formation." Thompson nodded. "Send to all ships. Break formation. Full power to engines. Show these Council dogs what humanity has been hiding all these years." The Thunder Child rose higher, followed by its sister ships. Their quantum engines glowed with controlled power, pushing them out of Neptune's shadow. More ships emerged every minute, their weapons charging, their crews ready. In orbit around Earth, Council diplomats watched in horror as humanity's true military force revealed itself. Their scanners showed technology that should have been impossible for primitive humans to possess. Their urgent messages back to the Council spoke of weapons that shouldn't exist, defenses that couldn't be breached, and ships that disappeared from sensors at will. "All ships report ready, Commander," his executive officer announced. Thompson looked at the tactical display. Hundreds of ships moved in perfect formation, representing humanity's hidden strength. Years of preparation, secret research, and careful planning had led to this moment. "Send to all ships," he ordered. The Council wanted to keep humanity weak. They thought they could control us, limit us, contain us. Today they learned how wrong they were. The Thunder Child's engines flared brighter, leading humanity's hidden fleet toward its first battle. The Council had ruled through fear for 1,000,000 years, but they had never faced an enemy who had spent years preparing for this exact moment. The Council world of Prime shone like a jewel in space, its 3 suns casting multiple shadows across its crystal cities. In the planet's Defense Command Center, Alert Officer Bluewing checked his sensors for the 10th time. Something felt wrong. "Status report," he demanded from his staff. "All clear, sir," his subordinate replied. "Our defense grid is at full power. Patrol ships report no unusual activity. The humans haven't been detected in any nearby systems." Blue Wing's sensors showed the same thing. Nothing but empty space and regular trade ships. But his instincts, honed over 3 centuries of service, screamed danger. In orbit, the massive defense platforms continued their endless watch. Each platform could destroy a small fleet, and Prime had hundreds of them. No enemy force could approach without being seen. No attack could penetrate their shields. That's when the first defense platform exploded. Before alarms could even sound, 3 more platforms erupted into balls of fire. Blue Wing stared in horror as human ships suddenly appeared where empty space had been moments before. Their black hulls seemed to drink in the light from Prime's 3 suns. "Impossible," he shouted. "How did they get past our sensors?" The answer came in the form of more explosions. Human ships were everywhere, appearing and disappearing at will, their weapons tearing through defenses that had stood for centuries. In the Council's emergency command center on Prime, the planetary governor watched in terror as humanity's fleet revealed itself. Their ships moved with impossible precision. Their weapons ignored shields that should have been impenetrable. "Send the alert to all Council worlds," the governor ordered. The humans, they're not primitive at all. They'd been hiding their true strength. But their messages never left the system. Human quantum jammers blocked all communications, leaving Prime isolated and alone. Admiral Reed stood on the Thunderchild's bridge, watching the battle unfold. Around him, his crew worked with calm efficiency, coordinating the attack they had rehearsed for years. First wave reports all targets destroyed. His tactical officer reported, "No casualties on our side. Their weapons can't lock onto our ships." Reed nodded. The Council's advanced targeting systems were useless against human stealth technology. Every shot missed, while every human weapon found its mark. "Sir," his communication officer called out, "General Stone's ground forces are ready. Should we begin Phase 2? "Give the order," Reed commanded. "Show them why you don't execute human diplomats." Across Prime's surface, hidden quantum portals activated. Council guards stared in shock as human troops appeared inside their most secure facilities. The soldiers moved with deadly purpose, their armor making them nearly invisible, their weapons cutting through Council defenses like paper. In orbit, more human ships appeared. The Thunderchild led the attack, its quantum cannons reducing Council vessels to scrap. Some tried to surrender, others tried to flee. None escaped. "Sir," his sensor officer reported, "we're detecting similar victories across all target systems. The Council's forces are in full retreat everywhere they encounter our ships." Reed allowed himself a small smile. Decades of preparation were paying off. While the Council had grown comfortable in their power, humanity had studied their every weakness, developed countermeasures for their every weapon. "Message from Earth Command," the comm officer announced. "Multiple Council species are requesting immediate surrender talks. They say they never knew what the Council was planning against us. They're begging for mercy." Admiral Reed looked at the burning defense platforms around Prime, remembering Ambassador Marshall's execution. "Tell them we'll accept their surrender," he ordered. But the Council leadership still has to answer for their crimes. The battle for Prime lasted less than an hour. The Council's greatest fortress world, defended by their strongest fleet, had fallen to humanity's first strike. And this was only the beginning. In the great Council chamber, now filled with smoke and fear, Bright Eye watched his million-year empire crumble. Emergency lights flashed as reports of defeat came from every sector. On the main display, dozens of Council worlds showed as dark spots, all contact lost. "How many species have surrendered?" Bright Eye demanded. 30 major species have declared for the humans, an aide reported, trembling. Another 40 have declared neutrality. We're losing control." The chamber shook as another explosion rocked the Council's capital world. Through the giant windows, they could see pieces of their defense fleet burning in orbit. Human ships appeared and disappeared at will, striking without warning. Officer Peter Wright stood in a captured Council intelligence center, sorting through millions of secret files. Each document revealed more of the Council's corruption. He transmitted the evidence to both human forces and Council worlds. Send this to all species still loyal to the Council, Wright ordered his team. Show them what their leaders have been hiding. The files told a damning story. Secret deals to keep younger species weak. Stolen technology sold for private profit. Entire civilizations kept in poverty while Council leaders grew rich. Assassinations of those who discovered the truth. On the peaceful trading world of Haven, Council ships fought each other in orbit. Some remained loyal to Bright Eye. Others had switched sides, turning their weapons on their former allies. The sky burned with their battles. General Stone watched from her command post on Haven's surface. Looks like your plan is working, right? She said over the quantum comm. The Council's eating itself alive. Truth is humanity's best weapon, Wright replied. We just had to show them what their leaders really were. In deeper space, Admiral Reed's fleet approached another Council stronghold. But this time, they were greeted by an unexpected message. Human fleet, this is Deep Voice of the Trade Worlds. A new alien voice transmitted. We've arrested our Council representatives. We offer our full surrender and request your protection. Reed smiled. Protection from what? From them. Deep Voice's transmission showed Council warships attacking their own people, desperate to maintain control. We've discovered the truth about the Council. We want no part of their crimes. The Thunderchild sensors detected more Council ships turning against each other. Some fought to protect their own worlds from Council revenge. Others simply fled into deep space. Back in the Council chamber, Bright Eye received worse news. The humans are broadcasting Ambassador Marshall's execution everywhere, an aide reported, along with proof that we framed him. The neutral species, they're all declaring for humanity now. Impossible. Bright Eye's central orb flashed in rage. We ruled this galaxy before their species learned to make fire. How can they defeat us so easily? The answer came from a surprising source. An elder species representative stood up in the chamber. Because you grew proud, the elder said. You thought power meant wisdom. You forgot to watch for danger. But humans, they never trusted us. Every smile hid preparation. Every handshake concealed a weapon. They were ready for betrayal from the start. On Earth, the United Defense Chamber received more reports of Council forces surrendering. Admiral Reed's fleet had secured another sector. General Stone reported more Council species switching sides. Peter Wright uncovered more evidence of corruption with every passing hour. The Council's million-year rule is over, Reed transmitted from the Thunderchild. Their own crimes destroy them as much as our weapons. In the burning Council chamber, Bright Eye watched his power slip away. The humans hadn't just defeated their military. They had shattered the fear and lies that held the Council's power together. The galaxy would never be the same. Admiral Reed walked through the ruins of the Council's capital city, his boots crunching on broken crystal. Around him, medical teams from a dozen species treated the wounded. The air smelled of smoke and burning metal. Even victory had its price. Casualty report, he asked his aide. We lost 30 ships in the final battle, the aide replied. 700 dead, 2,000 wounded. The Council lost much more, but many of those were their own people fighting each other. Reed looked up at the broken towers reaching into the orange sky. The Council's last desperate defense of their capital had cost many lives, both human and alien. Not all victories felt like triumphs. In a makeshift hospital nearby, General Stone visited her wounded soldiers. Some had lost limbs to Council weapons. Others suffered from strange alien energy attacks. But their eyes still showed pride. They had won. The Council leaders are secured, Stone reported over her quantum comm to Earth. Most of their high command either surrendered or died fighting. Only Bright Eye remains free. In orbit, the Thunderchild sensors tracked rescue operations across the planet. Council citizens emerged from shelters, finding their world changed forever. Some looked at the human ships with fear, others with hope. Message from Earth Command. Peter Wright announced on the command channel. They're ready for the final broadcast. Should I play Marshall's last message? Reed nodded. Let everyone see what started this. Let them understand the price of injustice. On every screen across council space, Ambassador Marshall appeared. His final moments played again, but this time, followed by the truth, the evidence he discovered, the council's plans against humanity, their long history of corruption and control. "Sir," a sensor operator called out, "we're detecting a massive energy spike from the council's underground bunkers." Reed's eyes widened. Bright eye. The cowards going toe. The explosion rocked the entire city. A desperate last act. The council leader had activated their doomsday weapon. But Reed had prepared for this too. "Quantum shields holding," his tactical officer reported. "Damage contained." Bright eye. Bright eye didn't survive. In the United Earth Defense Chamber, the leaders watched the final reports come in. The war was over. Humanity had won. But the cost was visible in the lists of dead and wounded in the burning cities on a dozen worlds. "We've achieved our objective," General Stone transmitted from the ground. "But there's so much to rebuild." Around the capital, ships from former council species landed with aid and supplies. Those who had suffered under the council's rule now worked to help heal its wounds. Former enemies became allies in reconstruction. Admiral Wright called from his intelligence post. "We found something in the deep archives." A message from Ambassador Marshall, recorded before his death. On screens across human space, Marshall's face appeared one last time. Not his execution, but a private message hidden in council computers. "If you're seeing this," he said, "then the council's true nature has been exposed. Remember this moment. Remember that power corrupts, that freedom demands vigilance. And most importantly, remember to be better than those who wronged us. Victory means nothing if we become what we fought against." Reed stood in the ruined council chamber, where it all began, where Marshall died, where the galaxy changed forever. Human ships patrolled the skies above, no longer hiding their strength, but now they protected rather than threatened. "Send to all forces," Reed ordered. "The war is over. Now comes the harder part, building a lasting peace." The price of victory had been high, but as the sun set on the council's capital world, the first steps toward a new future began. Humanity had proved its strength. Now they had to prove their wisdom. 1 year after the council's fall, the great chamber looked very different. Gone were the towering seats that had placed council members above everyone else. Now representatives from all species sat at the same level, in a circle of equals. At the center stood Admiral Reed, now Earth's chief representative. "The first meeting of the Galactic Alliance is now in session," Reed announced. His voice carried across the chamber, now rebuilt with windows showing the bright stars above. "Let all species speak freely and equally." In the gallery, Officer Wright watched with pride. The past year had been busy, hunting down the last council loyalists, rebuilding damaged worlds, establishing new trade routes, but most importantly, creating a system that would prevent another council from rising. "The human design for shared governance is accepted," announced deep voice of the trade worlds. "No species shall hold power over others. All voices shall be heard." The chamber's new quantum displays showed the changes across the galaxy. Former council worlds now govern themselves. Advanced technology, once hoarded by the council, spread to all species who wanted it. Trade flowed freely between stars. General Stone, watching from Earth via quantum link, smiled at the progress. Her soldiers now trained alongside alien forces, teaching and learning. The weapons of war had been replaced by tools of peace. "We remember those who brought us here," Reed continued. In the chamber center, a hologram appeared. Ambassador Marshall, standing proud. His sacrifice showed us the price of tyranny. His wisdom guides us toward a better future. The new Alliance Charter appeared on every screen. All species equal under law. Free sharing of knowledge and technology. Joint defense against external threats. Protection for developing civilizations. Regular elections for all leadership positions. We've established the Marshall Doctrine, Wright explained to newly contacted species. Any civilization that reaches the stars joins as equals. No more artificial limits. No more hidden corruption. The Thunder Child, now a symbol of both human power and restraint, patrolled the galaxy's edges, but it no longer hid its strength. Other species studied its design openly, learning from human innovation while sharing their own knowledge. The galaxy enters a new age, Reed addressed the chamber. Not ruled by fear, but united in purpose. We remember the Council's mistakes to avoid repeating them. In orbit above Earth, ships from 100 species gathered for the first Galactic Festival of Unity. Their crews mingled freely, sharing stories and dreams. Ancient rivalries faded as species learned to see each other as equals. Message from the border, Wright reported during the celebration. We've detected a new civilization, achieving faster than light travel. They're probably nervous, seeing all our ships. Reed smiled. Send them a welcome message. Show them Marshall's final speech about unity and cooperation. Let them see that the stars hold friends, not masters. The gallery erupted in applause as the Alliance officially welcomed its newest member. Representatives from former Council worlds watched with joy as another species joined freely, without fear or coercion. Humanity has changed the galaxy, Deep Voice observed to Reed after the session. Not just through strength of arms, but through strength of principle. Reed looked out at the star-filled sky. Somewhere out there, new civilizations were rising, looking up at the same stars. Thanks to humanity's victory, they would find a very different galaxy than the one Marshall had faced. We keep watch, Reed replied. Power always tempts. Corruption always whispers. But as long as we remember Marshall's words, to be better than those who wronged us, the galaxy has hope. The Great Chamber, once a place of fear and dominance, now echoed with voices of cooperation and progress. Humanity had proven its strength in war. Now they proved their strength in peace.